Good afternoon, HMS Bobcats. Welcome back to another great week at the Helena Middle School. I hope everybody had a great spring break and is refreshed and is ready to get back after this thing and finish this school year strong. It is now fourth quarter. That just boggles my mind. It is crazy how fast time flies. On today's Bob lesson, thought this was good timing. Wanted to share a Bob lesson with you called Are You a Boiling Frog? And what I love about this Bob lesson is it points out to me the importance of sometimes these unconscious things we do or the habits that we have, whether they're good habits or whether they're bad habits, that slowly start to accumulate and slowly start to build up on us. We are human beings. We are creatures of habit. And because we're creatures of habit, the habits that we have can really make or break us. What are the good habits that we have? Coming to school every day, doing our work all the time, doing the right thing, getting self-care in, getting our exercise in, getting our fresh air in, putting the cell phone away. Those are all really good habits that we have. This one, and the point of today's Bob lesson is going to speak more to some of the unhealthy habits that we have, and maybe more importantly, how we rationalize or make it okay in our heads with our self-talk about the bad habits that we have, and how it's just this one time, or it's just once a day, or it's just for dessert, or I'm going to skip my workout this day, or I'm not going to do homework that day, or I'm going to take this day off of school, but I'm going to come the other 4 days, and how this slowly, we slowly become boiling frogs, like you'll see in the video. So many of these bad habits start to accumulate, start to add up on us, and you may see it's just a little bit here, but when we take the sums of all those little bad habits that we have and add them up, that is the point of this Bob lesson. So wanted to play it right now. It's fourth quarter. Some of you starting to feel like it's been a long year, I've done enough, maybe taking the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, or maybe starting to let some bad habits creep in, especially with some of you eighth graders. And so that's why I wanted to show this video right now. Every day we got to wake up, we got to make the most of it. No matter whether we're sixth grader, eighth grader, whether it's first day of fourth quarter, first day of first quarter, we got to build those habits every day, stay true to our habits. Hope you guys like this Bob lesson. Hope you guys make it a great fourth quarter. Oh, and one final note for you animal lovers, because I'm one of them. No frogs were hurt in this next video. I wanted to put that out there ahead of time. No frogs were hurt.
Frog is a cold-blooded animal, and humans are warm-blooded, so our body burns energy or perspires to maintain the same 98.6 degrees. The cold-blooded frog's body temperature goes up and down with the temperature of its surroundings. Although frogs love water, when I hold it over this pot of boiling water, this frog is very uncomfortable and climbs to get away from it. Now, the water in this pot is room temperature, 69.4 degrees, so he's comfortable when I put him in. If I turn the burner on low flame, his body temperature will adjust and slowly he will heat up with the water. The water temperature has risen to 80 degrees and the frog is the same temperature and still comfortable. If I turn up the burner slowly again, he won't notice because he'll continue to change to be the same as his surroundings. When we started, I held the frog over the first pot of boiling water. He was uncomfortable and he tried to get away from the heat. But now, because we're raising the temperature slowly, he doesn't recognize the danger he's in. He just keeps going along with the changes in his surroundings. Eventually, we can turn up the burner to a deadly boil. He will just keep trying to adjust with it. By the time he realizes it's killing him, it's too late. He won't notice in time because he just keeps changing himself to go along with the changes in his surroundings.
All right, this Bob lesson is going to be titled, Are You a Boiling Frog? But first, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be Bob. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be a learner. All right, on today's Bob lesson, Going to talk about habits and how important habits are in our everyday life. We habitually become what we do. All right, on today's Bob lesson, I'm going to talk about habits and going to compare how middle school students and human beings in general become a frog in boiling water. This is a metaphor that I'm going to use, and what I'm really trying to hit on today is we do things, we make decisions every day, and we rationalize why it's okay, but over time it slowly starts to build. So today's first example is you could be a boiling frog if you consistently miss a day, a week, or more of school and rationalize it by saying something like, it's just one day of school, I can make it up tomorrow. One day of school we miss, okay, probably not a huge deal, but when it consistently becomes 1 day, 2 days the following week, 1 day the following week, and then 3 days the following week, and we add all those days up of learning we are missing, becomes very, very substantial. When you get to high school next year, there is a cap on how many days you can miss, and if you miss so many days more than that, you simply do not get credit. So we got to get in the habit now. I know it's just 1 day, and we tell ourselves it's just 1 day, and then that becomes our new norm, and that becomes a new habit that we have. Next slide. You could be a boiling frog if you consistently don't do all of your schoolwork, and you may rationalize this as, I do most of my work. I understand the concepts. I don't actually have to go through the steps of doing it. Well, there's a reason that your teachers have you go through those steps and do that work to try it on, see where we get, see what we don't get, make corrections, make adjustments. Teachers need to know what you're understanding and what you're not doing. But so much of life is being industrious. That means having a work ethic, accomplishing something, achieving something. So if you consistently don't achieve all of your workload, you're gradually going to fail. When you get a job someday, you don't get to pick and choose and do 70% of your job. If you only do 70% of your job, you're going to be looking for a new job because you're going to get fired someday. All of the missing work that we do, it gradually adds up and it can sink us down. All right, the last slide is you could be a boiling frog if you consistently aren't getting enough sleep, exercise, eating healthy food, getting self-care, all of those lifestyle things. And you may rationalize it as, I can stay up late tonight and I'll catch up on my sleep another time. Well, you stay up late tonight and then you're dragging the next day and you're not performing as best as you could. Or you could take a day off from an exercise routine if hopefully you are on one. Exercise routine, if I take more than 2 days off, I can definitely feel myself not feeling my best mentally, physically, emotionally. Or maybe you have cheat days in your diet and you eat lots of junk food. When you get to be my age or a little bit older, right now you guys can get away with not exercising, get away with having cheat days and eating junk food, and it doesn't really catch up to you. When you get to be my age, you have a couple of those days and you just start feeling different. You start feeling not your best. Or maybe you get away from your self-care and you work yourself too hard and you don't take time every day, every week to do something that is taking care of yourself. So you could be a boiling frog and slowly changing and not really realizing it if we get off of our sleep, our exercise, eating healthy, taking care of our bodies, taking care of our minds and our souls. That brings us to this week's quote of the week, which comes from Aristotle, which is, we are what we repeatedly do. That's the habits that I'm talking about. Success is not an action, but a habit. It's how we live our life every single day. It's the decisions that we consistently make. It's being in a routine. I was a little short on time on today's Bob lesson, and I could have came up with a lot more ideas of middle school students and the habits we make, where we're not making great habits and we're slowly boiling, and we don't really realize it. You guys, I encourage you to think about what are some of the habits you do that maybe aren't good habits, that maybe are starting to accumulate, and then one day you look in the mirror and you realize, wow, this isn't who I wanted to be or how I wanted to be or in the situation I wanted to be. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Some jelly beans. This week's winners, we have Lucy Lynch, John Howard, Cecilia Hutchison, Alyssa Shell, Tamaya Tallmunchkin. The answer to last week's Bob lesson jelly bean question of the week was fire. All right, this week's question, I have keys but no locks. I have space but no room. You can enter, but you can't go outside. What am I? If you think you know the answer, get your answer submitted. First and last name. Had another one this week.
Correct answer, no name, no idea who it was. Tune in next week, see if you're a winner. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.